Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello sir. Welcome back to our new series, session. So we are glad to have you back on this channel and welcome to a new episode of Decoding Market with Rohit sir. So getting direct to the market, cut short. So sir, what do you feel about the next coming week regarding the markets while seeing what had happened this week in the market?
Yeah, this is the toughest one. At the start of each week, I've been feeling that we're done with sufficient correction, and then it goes up a little bit, and then it gives up everything. This is the third consecutive week that has happened, in which now we are down for 4 consecutive weeks.
Right.
And while that sounds like a lot, I was just checking that when the Israel Iran attacks happened, the market fell 800 points in 2 days. Now the market has fallen 800 points in 4 weeks. So it's more of a time correction than a price correction. But the fear has gotten exaggerated that something bad is going to happen. Now, if something bad happens, surely you can get a bigger correction. But after 4 weeks, 800 points, I would still feel that we are closer to the worst is over scenario than the worst is about to start scenario. So therefore, I'm still trying to not be bearish. There's just a lot of near-term risk management that has come into play with all the up down swings of the market. But if you ask me what happens next week, I would still think it goes up. It went up this week also for the first half. It just gave up later on, and same thing last week. And I think again next week we shall make one more attempt to resume the upward trend. Hopefully, it is successful this time.
So this time, like today itself, I'm talking about today. Nifty slipped below 24,800, right? The market number. What can be the broader reason for the same?
Nifty slipped below. Sorry, what did you say?
So Nifty slipped below 24,850 point,
Yeah.
right? So the market is trembling. What can be the broader reason for the same?
Well, if I try to talk about what news came through and made it happen,
Hmm.
uh, the main reason actually has been weak earnings. It has gotten interpolated with some geopolitical stuff and the tariff stuff, but it is mostly earnings. So if you just see yesterday, so till 2 days ago, it was looking like market is okay. And I'm simultaneously just sharing my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's visible, sir.
so as that was happening, as all this up down movement is happening in the same range, and first you made a low here, then you went up, and then you made this low, then you went up again 225, 250 for a second time. Again, you made a slightly lower low. And then in this, the last 2 days here, it was Reliance. So the news was, that one day before that, Reliance had actually flown to Russia, and then they've been told not to. I mean, we're trying to work out a deal that, we reduce Russian imports, and they are trying to then work out where else they can get oil from. And then there's a rumor, and I don't know, I mean, I'm hearing it from some sources, I cannot confirm, but that they are finding it hard to get ships to deliver Russian oil. So now that's all part of one problem which you find a solution, or you need to find a solution to. So that's part of the geopolitical tariff. All that is related right now. It looks like, how much you'll buy oil at, and how much oil will you buy, and will you buy from there, and then will you import GMO food goods, which we are clearly not going to. And so, what does that mean in terms of the end result on the tariff front? And that uncertainty is just going on and on and on till you don't really get the final verdict. But apart from that, a lot of the down move is coming on poor results, right? Whether it is, just give me a second. There's an
Sure, sir.
important call to just take. Hello. Yeah. So going back there, uh, yeah. So even today, like what fell most? Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, which had results to come out today. Finance came out yesterday, and that impacted even Shriram, which has already given its results, I think. And basically, the NBFCs were down. These three were the big index ones. The others were down less, but basically the NBFCs started to drag, and eventually it spilled over to small caps and mid caps. Now that is a little funny because for the last 3 weeks, it was the small caps holding out that were giving us the feeling ki nahi, the market is strong. Nifty is the only thing coming down. Last 2 days, small caps and especially today losing 2% make it look like, oh, even that segment is going now. But usually that's a sentimental thing, the day you get everything falling, that's when it's getting you reach capitulation. So again, I'm not jumping to any conclusion today. After a 4 week decline, I'd rather wait and see. Some of our sentiment data will start getting oversold. So see, I was drawing these lines on the intraday chart. If you see these stops in terms of classic pattern, forget the wave analysis. It's like an expanding triangle is what we usually call it. Now, it requires you to actually hold the lower end and then attempt the upper end. The expanding triangle is a bullish pattern, especially if it is downward slanting, as in the current case. And its positive thing is when it breaks out beyond the upper end. So that is above 25 to 40 is what you really need to break out above. So where is this gone here? I'm actually missing the brush lines. They've changed something in the setting. Anyway, so yeah, this is sort of what it is. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir. So
You became so
keeping
quiet
this
that I
thing,
thought that. So this is the
no,
pattern.
no.
Okay. And
Yeah, I
usually
was
this
just looking on the
pattern
pattern,
is
sir.
like this. What we are anticipating is that something like this, but you have to break out above this 25 to
Right.
40, that breaks and we go back to the highs. So and at the same time, the bottom end, which is closer to around 24,730 or so, is our worst case scenario as of now. And that is also going to
What?
coincide with this bottom from where the rally started. So we are close to such levels that, theek hai. I'm not, I mean, we can either argue that, oh, you're wrong, it came down, made a lower low here, but this is hardly much of a fall. I know the short term pain, but I'm focused on what happens after this. And my sense is after this, we get an up move. So far, that has not changed. The day that view changes,
Mhm.
it becomes a problem. I'm trying not to change it. Uh, let's see.
So keeping this view in mind and the current market scenarios, what is your perspective regarding the short-term traders and the long-term investors? What do you want to
Investors,
say for them?
investors have nothing to worry about. Investors should have nothing to worry about. Traders definitely take a hit when this happens, and more importantly, when zigzagging happens, which means you go both ways and don't trend, then your long short
Mm.
both get stopped out. So this is a slightly downward slanting zigzag behavior, but simultaneously you get many points of entry when our swing indicator gets oversold like it did here. So this was a good entry point for this rally. So that is what then we look for. Can we get something like that again? We got another oversold reading here, and now we are coming back to that kind of reading. So this one only led to a small bounce that didn't last. But once again, here today we are at a reading of 20, which is just on the oversold line. Below 20 would have been nicer, but fine. I'm okay with 20. And so we again try to anticipate that on readings at and below 20, can we kick off another move to the upside? And question is how much. That is the only thing. It should not be another feeble bounce. Ideally, we finally get something more meaningful.
Hmm. So moving to the last question, like the third question for today's, but it's not the last question. Is there a divergence between price and indicators like RSI, MACD, suggesting a potential reversal or continuation?
Uh, so, divergences are slightly tricky. uh, you don't always get them, and sometimes you have to wait. A divergence comes when you actually close positively on the market. So if you actually are still falling today, it may look like, even the swing indicator which we just saw, it may look like it is at a higher level than last time by 2 points, but it's not a positive divergence till you actually start seeing a recovery. So a recovery must happen, and the data point should get established that yes, this data point was lower when the index was not, or the index was lower but the data point was not. Then it's an established divergence. Right now the market is still falling, and so what might look like a divergence is still not proven to be a divergence. So therefore it's a bit early to say that we have a divergence on any of these indicators.
Got it, sir. So, what are your thoughts on the Fed's asking of a global market trend? What are your thoughts on the Fed's regarding Trump tariffs?
uh he wants a deal. Okay, his main interest is that he has too much debt to pay, so therefore he wants to collect 15% in taxes from everybody and pay off his debt. This is the simple thing. Let's just look through
Right.
all the noise. So he wants his 15%. In the process, if he can get a trade deal, better entry into your market and grow his business as well, he's more than happy to do that. Okay, and that is what he wants. So he's using that. It's a dual bait, right? One is to collect some money to pay off the debt, and second is to grow business by creating free trade for the better free trade. Now, if people just saw what happened with UK, it created better free trade. Even if there's a timeline, see, some of the tariffs, like today's newspaper says, oh, some of the tariffs will only go down in 5 years. I don't care. In 5 years, you have a more free trading world. The end goal, see, very times we have a very short term view, tomorrow morning, you know but 6 months from now, if all the deals are struck, do we have a greater free trade world or not? If the answer is yes, this is the greatest free trade environment we've ever had in the history of world. And if you can't get that in your head, then you don't have a 6 month view of how this is going to look. And that tells you why, except for India, where a deal is still not struck, each and every market, Jakarta, Japan,
Hmm.
Taiwan, FTSE,
Everything.
Singapore, are all at all time highs. European markets, many of them have broken out of two decade long trading ranges. They've broken out of and gone. Okay. FTSE has taken out its 10 years trading range, 10 or 15 years of trading, 20 years actually. Sorry, I'm saying 2 decades of trading range taken out. Now, if that's not telling you something, then just go back and think what is happening. We are too focused on US ka ye problem. No idea what is happening.
We are like linking that to the India market. उधर कुछ हो रहा है तो what is the thing that is going to happen in our India market? तो that is what a normal person का thinking वही आता है घूम के ये कि
Yeah, so
always they think of
India is facing some short-term pain. Okay.
hmm,
So for traders in the short term, yes, there have been some shorting opportunities. Okay. But that doesn't mean that this is a bear market. That doesn't mean that we are going back to 21,000. The risk is that at some point of time, so contrary to a lot of the news reports that say अरे September के पहले deal नहीं होगा, तो deal तो होगा. But I wonder if Trump is so adamant on this August 1 deadline and he's gotten Japan also to sign off, then why will they not be after India to finish and write off something by the end of this month? Otherwise, we'll have to deal with a higher tariff rate for the time being, which will be like 1 month more. It will initially go to 25% and then we will bring it down. That could be one reason why the market's reacting, that if that's what is going to happen. But I'd rather that he'd rather, because he wants to stick with his deadline. So you'd rather
hmm.
get something done before that deadline, sign off on something rather than leave it hanging. So I think there should be some clarity of what the outcome of all this is going to be for us by the month end. Even if the final product is only going to come a little later, we should get some idea.
So I can see this trend in the India market in nowadays. If there is a news market will react to it immediately. But when there's a result of that news, तब उस market को उतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता. There is negligence, like the movement is very, very low. Is it like, is my perception about the market is right, or am I wrong in some way?
Yeah, so many events recently went like that, right? Whether it was the border disputes or the India or Israel or whatever, the market didn't react that much, and you can sort of say that it discounted that. And now it is reacting a lot more to the earning season to start with, more than the tariffs. I think it's reacting to the earning season, which is now at least the month is coming to end, but all earnings are not yet announced. But the large caps will have, so therefore the Nifty, which has taken most of the beating, stabilizes, and the mid and small caps will start announcing earnings. So you may see more volatility there. I don't know. But eventually, it's the mid caps that have given better earnings growth than large caps, at least in the last quarter. So expectation is eventually they will do better. But short term, you may see that rotation between the sectors again.
So let's have a word about cryptos. Like we have read through your insider clubs reports and all. So what's your views on Bitcoin going?
It's a good indicator of liquidity. Okay, just like gold was before that. And therefore, if I see it rising, I feel that global liquidity is expanding, and that is sort of a good thing for risk assets. So that is my simple equation with Bitcoin. I don't understand it other than that as a product. I have not gone deeper to say that I understand it, but I understand this part at least, that money goes into it, so it's liquidity, and it has correlated with other assets as and when that has happened, with a falling dollar whenever that has happened. So it's a good reflection of that.
I want to know your perspective. What do you prefer? Mutual funds, equities, cryptos, or commodities like gold, silver? What would you
I
prefer?
don't do mutual funds, so that is out. Out of everything else, I still have never done cryptos. I wanted to 14 years ago when it was not permitted in India, and I couldn't convince my brother to buy some on his card because he was too scared of using his card on some unknown website. Silly things like that. So I don't own any cryptos, and that leaves us with other things. Other things are all fine. I do believe in gold, but I prefer gold miners over gold for the higher return. So when you like gold and silver, you should probably look at the miners. And the preference between equity and gold just changes over time depending on the situation. But if equities are giving good returns, I will always prefer equities over gold because it's a 24/7 asset class and you can't track it all the time. But you have to take a slightly longer term view on gold and then buy some miners and on the dip, because they're very volatile. Whenever they dip, if you are able to buy them, then that's a good thing to do for the long term.
Right. Got a perspective of what you think about the market and what's your main like level or favorite things. Like equity is one that is the top of your list and will be
So,
there.
I need to actually I need to leave quickly. So let's just take on questions and
Okay, sure, sir.
go ahead.
So let's move on to the questions starting from Aditya.
Because Aditya, it's already known. If you asked anybody in May, they would have told you first quarter results are going to be bad. So it's not that it just happened. It's already known. We just want the news to get discounted, which is that result gets announced, stock falls, and thank you very much for selling it cheap. Because after that, after the results fall, you usually don't get the stocks at that level unless you think that the next quarter earnings are going to be even worse and worse and worse. And by worse, I mean negative. See, one thing is this whole concept of outperforming and underperforming estimates is something which is a US concept that has slowly found its place into India, which I completely don't believe in. I think it's only one day speculation. It has no meaning. So a company can grow earnings at 50% for 5 years, but on that one day when it didn't grow 50%, you want to hammer it down by 10%. It's senseless, right? Because it's still growing at 40-50%. So that means you still buy it. So not having the perspective of growth over 3 years and trying to judge how it does on one day is meaningless. So I disregard such questions.
So moving to the next one. It's from Mahadev Banerjee.
ये सब structural cyclical ये सब या so I am not that analyst. I am not a fund manager. So this would be a good question to a mutual fund head, and he will give you a very beautiful answer to these type of questions. But I look at it very simply. What is the rate cycle? Are interest rates going to go down or up in India? If they're going to go down, people will consume more. If they don't, they will go down further. Now, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand economics. So is growth happening? No. What does that mean? RBI will cut rates. Even though they are neutral, they will cut it at least 2-3 times more is my bet. And not only 2-3 times more, but let's get one at least. So basic point is interest rates will keep going down till you don't get growth. Where did that last happen? It happened in the US between 2000 and 2010. They cut rates in 2 different cycles multiple times till they got growth back. Now it is India's turn to do the same.
Moving to the last question, sir.
I don't like FMCG when everything else, when growth stocks are doing well. That's the short answer. So basically, FMCG has been the most expensive sector, and now even its growth is sort of flattened out. But if a market goes up, FMCG will also eventually go up, but go up less than everything else. So I would still not want to own it from a performance perspective.
Heard, sir. So that's it for today.
Let's call it a day.
Yeah. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. So there are some questions which are left. So we'll figure it out on the next webinar. That's on Monday.
Sorry, guys. I really have to rush to the dock with my son. He's running on a 102 fever. That is why I'm shutting it early. So letting you know. Otherwise, we can easily extend this session and take a few more questions. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, sir.